Web reputation and cyberbullying, prevention or war. What's the common point between web reputation and cyberbullying? All it can be done to fight this issue. Bullying on the internet is a phenomenon that does not seem to know an end and that tends to grow with the incessant expansion of the internet. The web reputation is undoubtedly the most effective way to defend against cyberbullying. The term, cyberbullying, describes a situation of offensive attack against one or more individuals carried out through the net, often with continuity. Threats, harassments, dissemination of sensitive information, uploading of photos and private videos are just a few examples of what cyberbullying brings to the unfortunate victims. The violence of the 21st century, by pinging it, may seem more recent than you think, but in reality online bullying comes long before social networks and the advent of smartphones. Since the first exchanges of messages on the forums, the system of verbal attack against someone has become widespread practice. How did it develop? Everything online. Those who attack can act thousands of miles from the victim, without the need to have real contact with him or her, thus eliminating the possibility of physical violence. Faceless, in a form of offline bullying, it is often clear who the bully is, especially if caught in flagrante. When it comes to cyberbullying, things become more complicated because the net becomes synonymous with anonymity. Naive, in the eyes of attackers, especially the younger ones, online bullying is not as serious as face-to-face bullying. In the bully's minds, a punch in the face hurts more than a private photo of a peer uploaded online, when, in fact, it's the exact opposite. But the net distorts the perception of how things really are. Superpowers. Playing with someone's life and emotions online causes a feeling of invincibility towards the victim, often unable to defend himself against the facts. So, the practice of cyberbullying becomes a source of greater satisfaction than it can be off the web. It is important to point out that this phenomenon is not restricted to the adolescent segment of the population. Online stalking is one of the clearest examples, widespread among adults, who are also often unable, like young people, to counteract the action. Web reputation. How much is your online name worth? In a world where almost every piece of information is available on the net, it is difficult to escape from what is published on your account, and even more to eliminate what is spread, even if not impossible. Link. The web reputation arises as the answer to cyberbullying. If you still don't know this term, I suggest that you go and read the article dedicated to it, which can clarify doubts even to more experts. Prevention. The virtual twin. If the web reputation shows who you are to the online community, not having it is equivalent to exposing yourself to great dangers. More than 1/3 of the world's population is present on at least one social media platform, with their data, photos, preferences and sensitive information of different types published personally on their profile. At this point it is possible, 1. Have a positive web reputation and create it over time, linked to the amount of personal data, acting as a defensive wall against cyberbullying. 2. Not having a web reputation, being so exposed to the riots of the net. The difference is very relevant, because having a web reputation is equivalent to giving your own image of yourself online. There are those who build it from the fame of offline life, as Cristiano Ronaldo, with almost 150 million followers. Or there are those who start directly from the virtual world, for example Marco Montemagno, a skillful and tenacious entrepreneur in making his way among social networks. But it is extremely important to understand that fame is an excellent ally along the path of web reputation, but not essential. What counts is to give a voice, a marked tone to one's own information disseminated online, to create a virtual image as faithful as possible to oneself. And this applies to any form of interaction, from your personal blog to the most insulting comment under the place of a photo with kittens. And what can happen without a web reputation? War. The virtual hand against cyberbullying. Not having a value linked to your virtual avatar can be dangerous. If the legitimate owner does not work on it, this gap can be exploited by someone else. Through denigration, substitution or deception techniques, the unfortunate person may find a web reputation built by a stranger, with his own hands, but on the victim's face. It will have been enough to work on the data already present, distort and/or falsify them, and here comes to create a negative image of its twin bites. Luckily, it's not too late yet. As cyberbullying has grown over time, so has the opposing arm. In fact, systems have been created to remove any negative content, denigratory and likely to harm the person concerned, such as our ReputationUP, created for, create, grow and monitor your web reputation, fight all forms of online slander scrupulously. In this way, your online image will have both the opportunity to develop, followed by people experienced in this field, going to create a defense against cyberbullying, but not only, it will create new useful links, it will give prestige and reliability to its professional image, it will show to the online community your strengths and talents. Web reputation and cyberbullying on the arm. When we talk about web reputation and cyberbullying, we must try to focus on these two terms as a whole, where one can be both the cause and the solution of the other. What's more important is to avoid letting your data float in the dangerous virtual ocean, without having given it its own form. Because once online, they will be in the hands of every interested party.